Right, we are speaking with Frank Terzino with PyroStar Entertainment. You and your wife, what's your wife's name?
Tori.
You two are the team behind PyroStar. When did you guys start PyroStar Entertainment?
So you got a lot of time here. Okay, so for the last 20 years or so, actually, I was a personal trainer and I owned a gym. And then in 2019, after I had done some apprentice work and I decided, I was like, you know what, I think we should just start our own fireworks company. I got my ATF license and we were like getting everything together. And that was like, I think November, December 2019 is when I got my ATF license. Then the pandemic hit. They actually shut my gym down. And then we had invested into starting this fireworks company. We thought it was bad timing, but it actually turned out to be really good timing. So I was cold calling every city, town within like hundreds of miles, just trying to get in somewhere. One of the towns that I had called reached back out to me and said, hey, listen, the vendor we're working with won't give us our deposit back. So because of everything going on, they weren't sure if they were going to have the fireworks for 4th of July. So I talked to my wife and I was like, all right, we'll give it back. They ended up signing with us, and it was a pretty big contract too, and they were with a very large national company, and they went with us because we told them that if COVID canceled their event, then we would give them their money back. And COVID did cancel the event, but we ended up postponing it, and we actually did a Halloween show with the town. So that's kind of how we got in. So after that, we started sending out proposals with a COVID cancellation policy saying that if COVID cancels your event, we will give you all your money back and you'll be out nothing. And within the first year, we went from like just me trying to book a fireworks show to, we probably had 15 or 20 shows by the end of the year.
Different times call for different measures. Skywars is quite a bit different too because it's the competition, which is like the exciting part too. You are one of our pro competitors.
Oh, I got in. Great, that's awesome.
Oh, did you not get that phone call? Yeah.
No, they did not.
This is the official one. Congrats.
All right, sweet, thank you.
So beyond pyro displays, what's kind of the scope of the services that you guys offer?
We like doing the big displays like that, and then we actually tour with like a demolition derby. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So like I've always been a big fan of like NASCAR and like monster trucks and all that, and my son loved monster trucks. So there's a company called the Tour Destruction. I had actually gone to see a bunch of their events like years ago, and like they sell out everywhere they go. They just like smash cars and drag campers behind the trucks and blow them up, and backwards racing and using a jet car to burn and melt down a race car. It's just a really good time. We did a fireworks show for them, and I started talking to the guy, and so we just started doing more and more with them. So we go from Florida to Virginia with them, and we tour around. So it's like I get to shoot fireworks, and then like in between, like we're watching all the demolition derby action and like the monster truck. Like it's pretty awesome. Like I'm kind of living my dream doing that.
I want to get kind of like the background on your pyro journey and how you even got into this. So yeah, you had a gym. And then COVID kind of happened and you doing that transition. But what got you started in pyrotechnics in the first place?
I remember being a kid back in New Jersey and fireworks are illegal there. And I remember my dad would come home with like a box of fireworks. And it was the firecrackers and the jumping jacks and the little spinny rocket. I just remember like really like loving it. And we were the kids, and so the parents would be out there lighting the fireworks. And we'd be up and we would climb to the top of the trees in our apartment complex, and we'd be on the lookout for the cops. So it'd be like screaming, everybody grab their box of fireworks and run back inside and then go back out. And I remember at one time actually going into the box of fireworks when no one was looking and like taking a bunch of firecrackers and twisting them together. And then be like, all right, let's do this for the grand finale. I don't know how old I was, but I'm way too young to be doing what I was doing. I kind of knew at that time that I was really into it. And then they made the mistake of taking me to Washington, D.C. for the nation's 4th of July fireworks when they used to do them over Washington Monument. And that, if you've never been there before or seen something to that level, it was like, going from somebody who sees a little small town display your whole life where it's just like a little tiny budget, and then going to that and just seeing 25 minutes of like a grand finale like the whole time. And then after that, I kind of like fell out for a while in my teenage years, in my 20s. And then when we had moved to North Carolina, I just started doing the backyard thing, kind of like everybody else, buy a little of this, a little of that. And then I wish I had a picture. I put together a finale board. And I had Saturn missiles, like the little 25-shot Saturn missiles, the 48-shot color per, and I think like 12 bottle rockets. And I bought some green safety fuse, and I didn't know anything about any of this. And I fused them all up thinking this is going to be the coolest fireworks show that you've ever seen. So like, it was like 30 minutes goes by, like every 5 minutes, like that green fuse would go around, light something, and then come to the next one. It was awful. So our 4th of July, we just started kind of getting into it more and more, kept growing and growing and growing. After my daughter was born, I went to go take her to her very first professional fireworks show. And as somebody who really liked fireworks, I was so excited for this moment. And we got there, and the company and the organizers decided to let the bands keep playing instead of starting the fireworks. And off in the distance, you could see that there was rain coming in. I mean, everybody, and it's not like it kind of moved in. Like, you could see it where we're at. Like, it was miles away, and we knew we had about 45 minutes before it was going to hit us. And they just kept playing music and playing and playing. And eventually it downpoured on us, and we left. And then, so she never got to see it. So, like any good father, I went out the following week, and I called a company, and I started my apprenticeship to get my pyrotechnic license. So I was like, well, then I'll just put the damn show on for myself. And so that was my goal, was to just get my license, and I could shoot like a really big show for her. And I had apprenticed for a couple big companies for about a year or so. I was talking to my wife one day, and I was like, these companies are putting like zero effort into these fireworks displays. I'm not sure how they do it where you guys are at, but I would show up, and any backyard enthusiast would spend hours, looking at videos of fireworks and fusing and like all this creativity. And I showed up, and they're like, okay, just take these shells, drop them in a tube, and then light them, and then we'll light the finale. And I was like, well, what if I put too many reds next to each other, or the great, and no, it's okay, you just do what you got to, and no one cared, and there was like zero effort and zero creativity, like, I mean, nothing. And I think the final straw was we had gone to a wedding, and I had my wife come to watch from nearby, and we were shooting the show, and she says, why was there like a 2-minute segment where you guys shot a bunch of green cakes? Their wedding colors weren't great. It had nothing to do with that. They just had them, and they shot it, and it just made no sense. And we were like, I think we could just do it better. I was like, all right, well, let's just make it happen. So we did.
So then you got your license and started this company.
So I got a funny story for you. So I let my wife pick the name of our fireworks company, and it was Starfire Pyrotechnics. That was the name of our company. So, and again, so like I didn't know like too much stuff. So she came up with the name, and I said Starfire. I was like, well, I know there's a firing system named Starfire. I was like, okay, well, let me look into it. So I Googled, Starfire Pyrotechnics, and nothing really came up. And I saw there was the firing system, and then there was the Starfire Corporation. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, well, Starfire Corporation, I think they're probably the people that probably own the system. So I was like, okay, so we're good. So for about... It's so stupid. So for, the first 2 years, we're operating as Starfire Pyrotechnics. That's us. And my name is Frank Terzino Jr.
Yeah.
And I'm calling all these people. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this yet. So I'm calling all these people, all these big display companies, and they're talking to me. Everyone's like kind of confused. And so I start getting these calls asking for Vince. And I said, Vince? I'm like, So as it turns out, and if people don't know, the Starfire Corporation does firework displays, which I didn't know, and the owner's name is Vince Teresi Jr., and I'm Frank Terzino Jr., and we have like almost the same identical like name, and so like so we found out, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So we started getting more calls, like people looking for them, and I'm like, all right, well, like we don't want any confusion, like because like. Right. I feel like we're putting a good product out, and I don't want people looking for us calling them, and vice versa. I wouldn't feel right if someone's calling looking for them, be like, oh yeah, hey, that's us, So then we had to go through, and a lot of fun if you're in a display company is to then reapply for a new ATF license and reapply for a new DOT number and redo everything after 2 years.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good.
That's a solid name.
It worked out. I guess it worked out better.
Definitely worked out. And you guys have a super solid reputation going on in your area too. You also have a little bit of collaboration with Mr. Beast.
Yeah, he's from North Carolina. He's not far from where we're at, so we've had the opportunity to kind of work with them on a couple of projects. Because of the NDA stuff, we really can't there's so much stuff I wish I could tell you, but it's really cool stuff that we've gotten to do. And we do have one video on the website that we are allowed to share, and it was the train versus pit video. We basically got to fill a house with fireworks and burn the house to the ground.
What would you say has been your favorite that you can talk about? Your favorite show to date that you've done?
So part of when we started started wanting to start our business was we had gotten pregnant with my son. He was like miracle baby number 2, and the doctor gave us like a 1% chance of ever having another child again. And my wife got pregnant. And so we used our 4th of July fireworks show to make the baby announcement. I found this really awesome song. My sister was recording it. I was like, hey, like zoom in on my wife. I mean, I have watched that video so many times, but it was basically like the song's talking about, we're having a baby and people finally got what was going on. And we shot the blue and pink fireworks. And I mean, I have just watched that video like a million times. It was just like, even still today, probably the best pyro moment that I think I've ever had. That was 2018.
You're just like father of the year every year when you get to get like a pyro license to shoot a show just so that your daughter can enjoy it, and then you announce expecting your son. And how do your kids feel? Are they mini pyros themselves?
Yeah, it's weird because outside of work, we don't do a lot of fireworks. For like New Year's Eve, we'll go shoot a couple fountains. I strapped a couple of sparklers on the back of my son's mini dirt bike.
I saw
and
that.
So
it was adorable, and I honestly want to do that the next time that I hop on a bike myself. You're coming into Sky Wars. This is a big field. Have you done any other shows that are quite on that like physical scale of the size of the field, the size of the venue? I'm
really jealous of the people in Missouri because you guys have so much area to shoot stuff.
We got a lot of space.
We only have size for 5-inch shells. I have like a couple 6-inch racks in our arsenal, but like that is it. In North Carolina, everything we do is in like this little tiny field. I did a pyro musical with a 50-foot wide display field. I mean, 50 feet. Like, it was cool. I'm just really excited to be able to go horizontal here because everything we do is always so narrow.
So this is going to be kind of an experiment time for you to see what you can do on like this playing field. There's just a ton of stuff you can do, and we've got all the way up to 16-inch guns in the back, from 8 to 16-inch shell, and then you just like have all this stuff so you can layer things, and the
I like
is
that.
literally the limit.
Well, I'm going to take it as a challenge now. So if they do a lot of 16s, we're going to see if we can incorporate a couple into our show then.
There you go. If you can do it, might as well. You guys do also special effects and like DMX and stuff as well. Are you planning? I'm gonna fish here for a little bit of a teaser of your show.
All right, so I think like DMX is really cool, and like in the right venue, it looks really cool. But like on that big field, it could really get lost.
Where do you find pyro inspiration?
Probably my family. When I typically like if we design a show, I usually use my wife as my. Like when I think of like who's going to be watching, who am I trying to impress? It's my wife. She's very hard to impress, and she's like she has oh my god, she has very high standards, which I guess is good for me. But but she's like so harsh. Like she'll be like, oh, they need to do this. I'm like, well, that's really good, but she's like always pushing it, and so sometimes I'll fight back on it. But she's mostly right. Like we did a Christmas show. She helped me do everything, but she had no idea what the show actually was. When I visualized her seeing the show for the first time, and like it was kind of like a love letter / an inspiration for it. So most of the shows are usually like a love letter to my wife or to my kids, or something like that.
That's really sweet. Just like, I hope this impresses you because this is what I think will bring a smile to your face.
Well, in the past I've been known to have that man thing where I'm not a really good communicator. And I'm sure probably a lot of firework guys probably aren't. So we tend to put it into the fireworks. So rather than, speaking it or saying it, that's like a way to show affection to people. Is like, here, here's this, enjoy.
I love that she's one of your biggest critics too.
We already have our soundtrack done for Sky Wars. We're done. And within like the first like 30 minutes of talking about it, we came up with a theme and music. That was her idea to everything that we're going to do. And of course, I fought her on it, and I'm like, no, let me. And I probably spent about 30 days like listening to like every different song, and then eventually I came back. I'm like, I think you were right. It's gonna be pretty awesome, I think.
Is it all 80s Billy Joel? I gotta ask.
Okay, you know what's funny?
I did look through your
I did.
page, and
I was gonna say, did you stalk through that? Yeah, we're calling it the Catalina Wine Mixer. That's internally, that's the name of the show.
Awesome. I was like, I can't tell if this is a joke or real, but either way, I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Have you been to Sky Wars before? Have you?
Okay. Yes. Okay. So we went in 2021. It was our first time ever going. I know it wasn't the best turnout for Sky Wars. That was the year that a couple of shows that didn't get off the ground. So we got to have somewhat of an idea. But I have to say that was one of the best trips that we have ever had. So we got there. We met with a vendor one night, and then we stayed at over at the Lake of the Ozarks, which is beautiful. And then we found the jewel of Missouri, which was Uranus. And
Yeah, they have the best
and
bed.
oh my God. Like, I mean, I was like in heaven. Like, we got there, I was like, we're turning the car around and we're going there. But we loved it. And then we had gone to Sky Wars, and then we stayed. We got to go into the Arch in St. Louis, and we walked around the downtown. I mean, we absolutely loved it. Like, if we didn't live here, I could definitely live out there, because the whole vibe, everything going on there was wonderful.
Wow, you had the whole Missouri tour.
Oh, it
Not all
was
of
really
it,
good.
but a lot of it.
Is there more?
There's quite a bit more. Come to where I am, in between Kansas City and St. Louis. It's pretty cool here too. But I also love Kansas City. If you haven't been there.
No, we haven't been there. That could be on a future trip. It was, like I said, we went there and we were just driving around. We did not expect to have the time that we had, but it was definitely, like, we loved it. The whole experience was great. We met a bunch of people. We did the VIP, and we made some friends in the VIP area that we still talk to now. It was awesome. It was a good time. It was just me and my wife that went. We left the kids at home, so, like, it was a really good, like, mom and dad vacation.
Yeah.
That's probably why we had so much fun.
And so 2021, you came in as an attendee, right? Did you go onto the field much at all? Did you see anything? Okay.
No. I did. I met the Fireball dude.
Bill Corbett, yeah.
But yeah, I met Bill, and Bill was one of those awesome guys. He actually helped us with the fireballs. So I had messaged him and said, hey, like, I'm coming out here, and I wanted to buy a T-shirt from him and thank him for helping us out, because we were starting to do fireballs, and it's kind of one of those where I don't mind trying stuff myself and learning things, but that was one area where I wasn't interested in, like, learning the hard way. So
yeah, he is the ultimate resource on that. He is the
100%.
I don't know if anyone's told you yet, but the pyros, they get on the field now as early as Tuesday, sometimes even earlier, but, like, it's a really cool atmosphere. Leading into the crew, we do have folks wrote in, and I think Jessica Bosworth was going to ask you and everyone how big you think your crew is going to be. How many people you think you're bringing?
4 people.
4 people?
No.
Whoa.
No. I think we'll have about 7 people.
That's a good crew.
So we plan on doing a lot of shells this year too, like a lot, like a super lot of shells. We've gotten so efficient in the way that we do things. I mean, my wife and I can rig up a 500 Q show and in a couple of hours. I'm excited for the challenge to get out there and see if we get everything set up, and hopefully the system in which we do things will allow us to get out there and get everything knocked out as quick as possible. So I've already, like, run through how we're gonna get everything lined up. The very first show that we had done, that Halloween show that I was telling you about, the finale was, I think, 360 individual E-match shells for the finale. So we didn't use any chains. We used, because we alternated, we did orange and purple. We had learned a lot from that show about the way in which we were going to set stuff up from that point forward. So,
have you spoken at all with any of your competitors yet?
Are there other people competing?
No, I think actually it's just you, and you might as well just show up and grab a trophy.
I was wondering if we needed to even bother. Now, somebody, a friend of mine asked me this morning, was like, "Oh, like, have you done any research?" I'm like, I mean, like, about what? It's not like they're gonna, like, run over and, like, rip the labels off my matches.
No,
I mean, like, it's like we're all gonna go out there and do our best, and whatever the judges decide is, what fits their criteria, ends up winning. So, to be honest with you, I almost actively avoid watching a lot of firework videos, because then I feel like you just kind of, you start watching too much of it, and then you end up, like, replicating it, and it just seeps into your subconscious.
Stick to your gun, stick to your style. It's good to get, like, inspiration from places that are, really pushing the bar. It's all about creativity.
I've definitely seen stuff that was cool. I talked to Tim from Casabella, and I saw, like, some video that he had done with Imagine Dragons song, and I called him on the phone. I was like, I was just watching this part of your video. It was, like, really cool. It was, like, really, like, I just don't want to watch too much of it, and then it kind of messes with your creativity. Instead of you just doing your thing, now you're just kind of trying to copy something else. So I feel like we go out there, we'll just do what we want to do, and then people are either going to like it or not. So
very good, very good. And people can get a little bit of the taste of what you do anyway online. I've seen a few clips that you've got, and you definitely have a unique style anyway, and the nature of the displays that you do is already pretty unique, so I'm excited to see how that translates onto the Sky Wars field.
It'll be cool, because we've only done, like, holiday shows. Like, everything we've done is, like, anything we've ever scripted has been for, like, Halloween or Christmas.
The question that Dawn Ayers had was how you get into the mindset of expressing yourself overdoing what you think the audience will like or prefer. And I think that really also ties in a lot to like music selection.
I think
What's
so
your take
too.
on that?
So it's funny. I saw that question, and I see where they're coming from. Like why you'd want to you want to express yourself. I mean, our company name is entertain. Like we're there to entertain people. So like if it was just me, like I'd have like Metallica and Megadeth playing if I was going to express myself freely. But like no one really wants to necessarily listen to that. You have to kind of take that into consideration too. So we want to put something out that everyone will like, but we can also express ourselves while we're making it too. We had our idea. We were listening to the soundtrack, and I wish I should play it. I wish I could play it for you, but. It's really good. It's like real, like we're like rocking out to it. And I told my wife, I said, like, look, if we do the show and everyone in the crowd like loves it, but like we don't win, I'm like, I'm good with that. If people cheer and people love it, like I have no problem like going out and putting, because I don't think that will fit into the traditional pyro musical style. I think it will be different than what a lot of other people do.
I honestly, low-key, really love hearing the pyro horror stories that happen to everyone.
Oh my God.
Everyone's got at least one. It's that stuff that makes you realize all the little things that can go wrong.
Well, have you ever used that little Bilyusan, that little cheap Chinese firing system?
Like once or twice.
When I first started getting into e-firing, I went online. I bought a bunch of little 1-foot e-matches from eBay. And again, I don't know what's legal, what's not. I'm trying to do a fireworks show. And I bought the little Bilyusan firing unit, and I had a bunch of firework cake boards, and I had fused together about 10 cakes in a row. Quick fused all the cakes, and then I put an e-match in the first cake, so when I ignited, it would fire all of them. And with the Bilyusan units, the only way to know if you have continuity is to turn it on and see if the light is red and turn it off. And I was under my carport in the summer because it was hot out, and I was preparing my boards, and all my fireworks are in boxes all around me. Everything's open. And so I got the sheet of plywood up on sawhorses, and I got a 12-inch igniter, and I went to go check continuity. And it popped off right in my face. Under my carport. My father was visiting from New Jersey. He jumped out of his RV with a fire extinguisher, and my wife thought I would was joking around, and she was about to come outside and yell at me because my son was laying down. He was taking a nap, and she comes out of the house, and there's fireworks going off everywhere. I mean, my dog was out there. I could have killed my dog. I could have killed myself. Could have burned my house down. I mean, I set a fire, like a little brush fire in the neighboring property. Fortunately, a fireman, off-duty fireman, was driving by and came and was able to help put it out. And fortunately, I had a bunch of NOABs, and I had some really big stuff. And fortunately, nothing else had caught other than that one. It could have been deadly, and so many. I mean, it was just one of those situations. And I went back afterwards, and it turns out that little unit was hot wired. So when you turned it on, every single time it popped the matches.
Oh, wow.
Now, professionally, I would never stand over it, and I would never use a 12-inch igniter, but not knowing anything and being an amateur, just buying some stuff online, it was one of those situations where, really, everything worked out perfectly wrong. It could have been very deadly. I had singes on my eye, but it could have been so bad. And so I try to tell people about those that system,
They're
do not.
They're terrible. Just invest in an Ignite system. Well, they didn't have Ignite systems back then, but invest in one now because those are way, way, way reliable and.
But don't be stupid and stand on top of it when you turn the thing on. Yeah.
Yeah, even when you're testing continuity on the most trustworthy system, stay back.
I try to share that story with a lot of people because people need to know, it's dangerous.
Cautionary tale. All right. Not just anyone gets to compete at Sky Wars. It is the U.S. Fireworks Championship. It's a big deal. Winner or not, and I know that you guys are just out there to put on the best show that you can, show what you got. What does this mean for your pyro journey?
Just probably validation. I have a certain sense of what we can accomplish. So it's kind of validation to prove that we can do it. So we finished that as a team, especially that production at that scale on the stage that big, just that validation to know that, we think we're the best. So we're excited to go out there and have the opportunity to at least try to prove it to ourselves that it's something that we can do. We're excited to be a part of this. If we went out there, we had a really good time, and we're excited to come back. We get to keep the trophy, right?
You get to keep the trophy. Yeah.
If we just get the measurements up. Yeah, because I was going to actually start working on building the trophy case. So I got to talk to Rob and find out what the actual dimensions are.
Yeah, do that. Knock on the wood that you're making it with too.
Yeah.